In a small, dimly lit room on the 33rd floor of the New Yorker hotel, a man lies motionless on a thin bed. The curtains are drawn tight against the night. The air smells of dust and ozone. Outside, lightning flickers faintly against the skyline, as if nature itself mourns him. Before we proceed, please show some love by hitting that subscribe button. Like, share, comment, and watch till the end. You will be amazed. The year is 1943. His name is Nikola Tesla. For decades, he was called the man who lit the world, the wizard of electricity, the genius who could summon lightning from the sky and command it with his bare hands. But now, he's alone, penniless, and forgotten. His inventions, once too powerful for his time, are scattered. His notes, missing. Within hours, the FBI would storm this room, confiscating everything. Blueprints, letters, equations, all gone. What were they looking for? And what did Tesla really discover that was too dangerous to exist? Tesla's story doesn't begin with fame. It begins with obsession. Born during a storm in 1856, legend says lightning struck the night of his birth. The midwife called it an omen of darkness. But Tesla's mother whispered something else. No, of light. From the very beginning, Nikola Tesla seemed destined to harness what no man could control, energy itself. As a young boy, he saw visions, sparks, numbers, and patterns swirling in his mind. He could build entire machines in his imagination before ever touching a tool. He once said, "I do not need models, drawings, or experiments. I can picture them all as real." And so he began to dream of a world not chained by wires, but powered by the invisible. When Tesla arrived in America in 1884, he had 4 cents in his pocket and a head full of impossible ideas. He walked into the roaring chaos of New York City like a prophet entering Babylon. Factories roared, electric arcs blazed, and one man, Thomas Edison, ruled it all. Edison's direct current empire powered America's first electric age, but Tesla saw its flaws. He believed electricity could be free-flowing, infinite, carried across continents through invisible waves, not limited by distance or wire. Edison laughed at him. Investors ignored him, but Tesla didn't stop. He took a job fixing motors by day, and by night he worked in secret, creating something the world had never seen, the alternating current motor. It would change everything. By 1893, Tesla stood before thousands at the World's Fair in Chicago. With a flick of a switch, his alternating current lit up the entire fairground. The crowd gasped. For the first time, humanity saw light stretch across the night like fire from heaven. Edison's empire fell. Tesla's current became the new standard of the modern world. He was hailed as a god of science, a man who could command lightning. But fame is fragile. And when power shifts, enemies multiply. Behind the applause, bankers like J.P. Morgan watched closely. They saw Tesla's new ideas, wireless energy, free power, limitless transmission, not as miracles, but as threats. Tesla wasn't just building generators. He was dreaming of a world where energy belonged to no one, where power, quite literally, was free. In 1901, he began work on his most ambitious creation, Wardenclyffe Tower, a 187-foot giant designed to send electricity wirelessly across the planet. He believed one tower could light up the entire Earth. No wires, no control, no cost. It was madness and brilliance. But for Morgan and the men who built empires from oil, copper, and wire, it was a nightmare. Tesla wasn't just building technology. He was challenging their business model. "If anyone can pull energy from the air," Morgan famously asked, "where do we put the meter?" Funding stopped. The press turned against him. Wardenclyffe was abandoned before completion. In 1917, the government tore it down. They said it was useless. Tesla said it was stolen. From that moment, Tesla faded from headlines to history's margins, but he never stopped experimenting. In secret hotel rooms and rented labs, he worked on something else, something bigger. Rumors spread, a death ray, capable of vaporizing targets miles away. Others said it was a new energy weapon, one so powerful it could end all wars. When he died, that's what the FBI came for. They called it Project X. To this day, those files remain classified. Tesla's death marked the end of an era, but maybe not the end of his invention. In the decades since, engineers and physicists have found sketches, prototypes, and fragments of machines that don't belong to any known patent. Devices that seem capable of transmitting energy across space, just like he promised. So the question remains, did Nikola Tesla truly unlock free energy? Or did his invention vanish because the world, or someone powerful, decided it shouldn't exist? He wanted to give power to everyone, and lost everything. Now we're left to wonder, who holds his dream today? They called it the War of Currents, a battle not fought on fields but in laboratories, boardrooms, and headlines. A war for the very soul of the modern world. On one side, Thomas Edison, the Wizard of Menlo Park, America's favorite inventor, backed by industrial giants and media empires. On the other, a foreign genius, Nikola Tesla, armed with nothing but blueprints, brilliance, and an unwavering belief that the world deserved more than just profit. It began as a scientific debate, but quickly devolved into a bloodless war of reputation and power. Edison championed his direct current, or DC. It was revolutionary for its time, but it was also clunky, expensive, and could only travel short distances. Tesla's alternating current, AC, was the opposite. Efficient, limitless, and capable of traveling for hundreds of miles. AC was, without a doubt, the future. But Edison didn't care about efficiency. He cared about control. If DC died, his entire empire, built on patents and infrastructure, would crumble. And so, he did what powerful men often do when they fear losing their grip. He waged war. Edison launched one of the most ruthless smear campaigns in history. He paid reporters to paint AC as dangerous, deadly, a killer current. He staged public electrocutions of animals, dogs, horses, calves, even a circus elephant named Topsy, all in the name of proving Tesla's system was unsafe. Newspapers ran sensational headlines, "Tesla's power murders dog." It was brutal, theatrical propaganda designed to terrify the public. But Tesla refused to fight back with words. He fought with brilliance. When the great engineer and industrialist George Westinghouse saw Tesla's work, he knew this was more than just an idea. It was a revolution. Westinghouse offered Tesla a deal that would change the course of history. He'd buy his patents and give him royalties for every kilowatt of AC power generated. Finally, Tesla had the powerful ally he so desperately needed. Together, Tesla and Westinghouse took on Edison head-on. The ultimate showdown came in 1893. The U.S. government needed to power the Chicago World's Fair, the largest and most ambitious event of its kind. Edison's DC bid was astronomical. Westinghouse's AC proposal was cheaper, cleaner, and smarter. Against all odds, Tesla and Westinghouse won the contract. When the fair opened, 200,000 light bulbs flooded the night with a brilliance no one had ever seen. The city was bathed in light, all powered by Tesla's alternating current. People gasped as fountains glowed with impossible colors. Electricity seemed to dance through the air, so bright it turned night into day. It wasn't science, it was magic. The future had arrived, and it was spectacular. The newspapers that once demonized AC now hailed Tesla as a genius, a visionary. Edison's defeat was total. His investors fled, his reputation was tarnished. For the first time, the wizard had been outmaneuvered by the man they called the Master of Lightning. But Tesla's victory came with a hidden cost. Westinghouse, under immense pressure from his financiers, was on the brink of bankruptcy. The bankers who backed him demanded he tear up the royalty agreement with Tesla, an agreement that would cost them a fortune. They threatened to ruin Westinghouse if he didn't comply. Hearing of his friend's plight, Tesla, ever the idealist, took the contract and tore it up himself. He reportedly said, "You have been my friend. You have helped me build my dream. I will not destroy you for money." That single act of loyalty cost him millions, potentially billions, in future royalties. It would have made him one of the richest men on Earth. Instead, Tesla walked away with nothing but his principles. In a world increasingly ruled by greed, he chose purity. And for that choice, the world would make him pay dearly. In the years that followed, the War of Currents officially ended with AC's undisputed triumph. Tesla's designs powered the first hydroelectric plant in history at Niagara Falls. Cities from London to New York began to glow with light drawn from the power of nature itself, all thanks to his vision. But in that victory, something crucial was lost: Tesla's control over his own creations. As the patents transferred and corporations rose, they stood on his shoulders. General Electric, Westinghouse Electric, and countless others built vast fortunes from the very technology Tesla had given away. His name faded from history, while theirs were printed in gold on the skyscrapers he made possible. The man who lit the world couldn't afford to keep his own lights on. But Tesla wasn't finished. Even after losing everything, his mind burned brighter than ever. He began to speak of even grander ideas: wireless energy transmission, anti-gravity devices, and machines that could tap into the free energy of the Earth itself. He designed a massive tower, his magnifying transmitter, which he claimed could send messages and power across oceans without any wires. The press called him a madman. But if Tesla was truly crazy, why did the US government send federal agents to confiscate every last scrap of his research the moment he died? As the War of Currents ended, a new, invisible war began. Not for markets or money, but for secrets. It seems Tesla had unlocked something far deeper than electricity. Something the world either wasn't ready to control, or that certain powers couldn't allow anyone to control. They fought to control power. He fought to set it free. And when he lost, the world gained everything, except the truth. They called it Wardenclyffe Tower, Nikola Tesla's final masterpiece. But to those who feared it, it was something else entirely. A weapon, a threat, a discovery too powerful to exist. After the infamous War of Currents, Tesla retreated from the chaos of industry. He had already lit up the world, but his next dream would make electricity itself seem obsolete. He envisioned a system where energy flowed freely and wirelessly to every home, every ship, and every city on Earth. No power plants, no tangled cables, and most importantly, no bills. Just pure, limitless energy drawn straight from the Earth's own natural charge. He told his investors, "When wireless is fully applied, the Earth will be converted into a huge brain, capable of response in every one of its parts." The idea was staggering. He was proposing a planetary network that transmitted not just electricity, but information too. Tesla wasn't just describing free power. He was describing the internet decades before it even existed. But dreams like that need money, and money answers to power. In 1901, Tesla found what he thought was his golden ticket: J.P. Morgan, the most powerful banker in America. Morgan had just consolidated his control over U.S. steel, the railroads, and the telegraphs. When he heard Tesla's pitch for global wireless communication and energy, he smelled an incredible opportunity. Morgan invested $150,000, a massive fortune at the time, to begin construction of Wardenclyffe Tower in Shoreham, Long Island. Construction began, workers hauled steel, and Tesla meticulously inspected every blueprint. Newspapers ran sensational headlines like, "Tesla to wirelessly light the world." But Morgan had misunderstood one crucial detail. Tesla wasn't building a tool for profit. He was building a tool for freedom. When Morgan finally realized Tesla's tower wouldn't just transmit messages for a fee, but could send power itself for free to anyone on Earth, he panicked and pulled his funding. Because after all, how do you put a meter on the air? Suddenly, Tesla's funds dried up. The banks closed their doors to him. Contractors stopped showing up. The very same newspapers that had once celebrated him now began to call him a madman. J.P. Morgan had turned the tide against him, and other financiers quietly followed his lead. Nikola Tesla was blacklisted, yet he refused to give up. For 2 grueling years, Tesla poured every last cent of his own savings into the project. He lived in the laboratory, reportedly surviving on little more than crackers and milk, scribbling frantic notes at 3 a.m. about oscillations and cosmic frequencies. The locals started calling him the Lightning Man of Long Island. Sometimes at night, they'd see eerie blue light arcing around the tower's dome, silent flashes that turned the clouds a ghostly purple. Farmers claimed their horses would shy away from a low hum that seemed to come from the very Earth itself. Rumors began to spread that Tesla had tapped into something beyond human understanding, that he'd discovered a way to draw infinite energy directly from the atmosphere. He spoke of capturing the heartbeat of the planet, and claimed his transmitter could send energy wirelessly all the way across the Atlantic. It was science that bordered on sorcery, and for a man like J.P. Morgan, it was dangerously disruptive. Then came 1903. Desperate, Tesla sent Morgan one final, impassioned plea. "Will you help me finish the great work which I have begun, so that the human race will be freed from drudgery and the energy of nature harnessed for all?" Morgan's reply was cold and final. "If anyone can draw power from the air, where do we put the meter?" That was the end. Without funding, Wardenclyffe was abandoned. The tower, standing 187 feet tall with its gleaming copper dome, became a silent monument to what could have been. By 1917, during World War I, the US government ordered it demolished, claiming it could be used by German spies. They blew it up with dynamite. But what they really destroyed was a symbol of a future they couldn't control. Tesla's dream of free wireless power died in silence. His laboratory was shuttered. His notes, rumored to be thousands of pages, vanished. They were reportedly confiscated by government agents the moment he passed away in his New York hotel room in 1943. Even today, much of what he was working on remains classified, hidden away in deep archives or simply lost to time. But fragments of his vision survive in his letters, sketches, and interviews. In one, he said, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all previous centuries." Those words still echo, especially when you realize just how close he came to completely rewriting human civilization. Decades later, the very concepts Tesla described, wireless transmission, global communication, even directed energy, would reappear but under new names. Military researchers studied them. Corporations patented fragments of them. And yet, it seems that every time someone got close to reviving Tesla's full vision, their funding mysteriously evaporated, just like his. So, what was Wardenclyffe Tower really? A failed experiment? A suppressed success? Or something that worked and was deliberately buried because it worked far too well? Every empire in history has relied on one thing: control. Control of land, of money, of resources. Tesla dreamed of a world where that kind of control meant nothing. A world where energy was as free as the sunlight. He saw humanity rising together. They saw their profits falling apart. And so, the tower fell. He built a tower to give the world light, and they buried it in the dark. This is where the story ends, or where it begins again. Room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. A forgotten genius sits alone, surrounded by the ghosts of his own inventions. His name, Nikola Tesla. Once, the world called him the man who lit the planet. But now, in the final years of his life, he was labeled mad, delusional, a relic of the past. His patents had been stolen, his funding stripped, his name nearly erased by those who'd built their empires on his brilliance. But what no one could erase was his vision. Even in his 80s, Tesla wasn't done. He spoke of death rays, teleforce weapons, and machines that could stop entire armies. Newspapers mocked him. "Tesla claims to split Earth in half," they laughed. But inside his notebooks, beneath the eccentric headlines, was something terrifyingly real. He called it the teleforce, what the press later dubbed the death ray. It wasn't a bomb, but a focused beam of charged particles capable, he said, of melting engines, destroying aircraft, even stopping wars entirely by making invasion impossible. It was his final gift, or his final warning. Tesla tried to offer this invention not to one nation, but to all. He claimed it could ensure world peace through mutual safety. But when he demonstrated the plans to several governments, the US, the Soviet Union, the UK, they all declined. At least, officially. Because when Tesla died in January 1943, alone in his room, the US government moved fast. Very fast. Within hours, FBI agents and officials from the Office of Alien Property seized every document, notebook, and device he left behind. Over 80 trunks filled with papers were taken, labeled top secret. The world was told Tesla died penniless and forgotten. But behind locked doors, men in suits pored over his notes. And among them was a young military scientist named John G. Trump, uncle of future President Donald Trump, who was ordered to examine Tesla's work. Trump reported that Tesla's papers contained nothing of practical value to national defense. But decades later, the technology Tesla described, directed energy weapons, wireless transmission, particle accelerators, began to appear under military patents. So, What really happened to Tesla's work? Did it vanish into obscurity? Or was it absorbed, dissected, and reborn under new names, classified forever? Some say Tesla's death ray became the foundation for HAARP, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, a project often linked to atmospheric energy experiments. Others whisper about Project Starfish and Operation Argus, mysterious tests that unleashed massive bursts of electromagnetic energy into the sky. Coincidence or resurrection? Tesla's genius was timeless, but his tragedy was eternal. He believed in a future where humanity was free. Free from scarcity, free from greed, free from the chains of power. But those who control the world never profit from freedom. They profit from dependence. In the years after his death, the world stepped into the atomic age, the space race, and the digital revolution, each milestone built, in part, on the principles Tesla envisioned decades earlier. But his name remained in the shadows, resurrected only by those who knew what was taken from him. Today, Tesla's dream still flickers. In the quiet hum of wireless chargers, in the orbit of satellites, in the invisible threads that connect every phone and signal around us. The world finally caught up with him, but not in the way he imagined. And so, we return to that question. Was Tesla silenced? Or did he see too far beyond his time, into a world humanity wasn't ready for? A world where power, real power, no longer belonged to the few. He promised to give us free energy. They gave us the electric bill. He built the blueprint for peace. They built weapons of war. Tesla didn't fail. He was stopped. Because the war that silenced him wasn't fought with armies. It was fought with money, fear, and control. And those who win such wars don't need to fire a single shot. Tesla lit the world. But in the end, the world turned off his light. If you believe the truth should never be buried, subscribe, like, and share.